Hi guys, it's Aman here from Elrond News now, and we have here today Thibault from France, and he's an author of several books on cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, NFTs, and Elrond. We have an opportunity to interview him today, and it's a real honor for us to do that. So before we get started, can you tell us a bit of background of who you are and what you do?
Okay, so first of all, thank you, Aman, to have me today with you, and thank you for everyone attending this video interview. So I'm Thibault Coussin, I'm a writer. I have several books like this one, and my target is to produce some content about crypto, to democratize this technology, this market. And it's really hard, especially in France, because there was not so many resources a few years ago. So I decided to help spread the word to some awareness about all these topics. So basically, I'm an IT engineer. For 5 years, I did some IT studies. Then I worked in a company to build some factories that transform waste to energy. So at first, I was the administrator. So I was looking after some softwares and stuff like this. And then few years after, I decided to change. I wanted some new challenges, and I decided to not be only the administrator, but also the user. So basically, I was using the tools I was administrating. And so my job was to organize the schedule, what person will do in what time, at what cost, and everything need to fit in the schedule. It's big companies, so it's big planning. So that was my job. And in 2017, I discovered Bitcoin. So not so long ago, it was a wow for me because I immediately fell in love when I started to dig into Bitcoin and the project, Pug's values. So I decided to write my first book in 2019, I think, because there were a lack of resources about how to understand this technology, how to understand Bitcoin, how to invest in this market, and it was really missing. So I decided to write at this time my first book. It was quite a success because, as I just said, it was missing, and media are not really fair about Bitcoin. Sometimes it's really hard to read some articles. So I decided to do my part of the job, to try to educate people and guide them in the market. I did it in parallel to my job, but as time advanced, I saw that Bitcoin was really my passion and my job was less and less interesting. So I decided this year in 2022 to switch and to be full-time crypto. So basically, I'm doing some content, so books, podcasts, articles. I'm also helping some companies to guide to support them for presentations, webinar, or also support in Discord or on social networks. So basically, it's not really clear because I have a lot of tasks in my pipeline, but basically it's to produce content and to educate people about Bitcoin and the market.
Fantastic. Appreciate that. So basically, that's what you found that was missing in the market, which you wanted to educate the market and do that through writing several books on subjects such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and now with Elrond. So according to your research, what is it that you found most significant with Elrond?
I think the key part in Elrond at first was the community, clearly, because when you write some books, it's really important to have some people in these projects, in Elrond, but also maybe in Avalanche or in Ethereum. I also work with other people, but in Elrond, it was really cool to write this book because the community is really strong, really active. The French community also, especially. And so it was really easy to have some answer. Even the Elrond team answered some of my questions. I think it's really not the same in other community, or I didn't find other community as strong as Elrond for now. So that was the first key element for me. The other really cool part about Elrond, it's products they deliver are really easy to use. When you look at Maiar on your smartphone, when you look at Maiar Exchange to do some complicated stuff, it's really easy with Elrond products. So sometimes not delivering on time, but each product they are delivering are easy to use and pretty cool. So I think community and product are really best marketing for Elrond.
I found the same too. You said the community is very strong, and the Maiar in itself with the app, it's the user interface is so easy to use. The user experience for user, especially for newbie to use it, is so easy and seamless to use, which is fantastic to experience.
Yes, just as an example, when I have some friends that were interested in crypto but didn't really started, and with Maiar, it was really easy to onboard them. And it was really an example of a proof that their products are really easy to use. It's not so easy to invest in Bitcoin with an application. It's now more easier than a few years ago, but with Maiar, it's easy, really, really easy.
100%. Apart from the book which you've written, Understanding Elrond in just 2 hours, you've written other books, as we mentioned, on subjects such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and NFTs. What do you find are the strengths in each of these blockchains?
Okay, so the first one, Bitcoin, it's quite easy to answer this question because Bitcoin is almost the only one to still have a mining consensus based on mining, as Ethereum is clearly moving out. So Bitcoin will be the only one, or almost the only one, because the other using mining are really inferior to Bitcoin, in my opinion. Bitcoin is using mining. That's a really cool thing. There is some advantages and disadvantages on this, but mostly advantages, I will say. Bitcoin has no founder identified. So that's the key point. You cannot put some pressure on Bitcoin. So basically it will be this in few years ago, and I can't see any other project that can beat Bitcoin on those sides, I think. And yes, maybe because Bitcoin at the beginning, when there was some cypherpunks, there were no companies in the funding process. That's also a key part, because in Ethereum, there was an ICO fundraising with some companies, and all projects that are starting now in crypto use this kind of process with an ICO, with a fundraising, and some companies that invest in the project and have some influence in the project. With Bitcoin, it was not like this. It was really fair, and that's the beauty of it. So for Bitcoin, it's quite easy to show the strengths. For Ethereum, basically, it's the only one that have so many use cases, and what is really awesome with Ethereum, it will bring awareness in another way than Bitcoin, because every developers, builders can build on Ethereum. Bitcoin is really focused on currency, stability, and a worldwide currency. But Ethereum has a lot of use cases to propose, and some of them are not known yet. So it will be really cool to see what Ethereum will propose. We already saw DeFi, decentralized finance. We already saw NFT, and there is plenty of other use cases. So Ethereum is really cool on this side. It's switching to state. It's cool on some aspects, but not so cool on others. So it's just centralization on a few platforms, just a risk, I think. But Ethereum has a lot of advantage on its use case. For Avalanche and Elrond, it's a bit different because they are, let's say, a bit of competitors with Ethereum. So Elrond has the sharding and has a great community, has some experience, and all their developments are really cool. And in Avalanche, there is some other stuff like the bridge, or you can directly create some blockchains on Avalanche. What I'm trying to do inside my books is to always dig into one technological aspect of crypto. So for example, for Bitcoin, it was basically the blockchain, the basic consensus. Then for Ethereum, it was about smart contracts. Then on Elrond, it's about sharding. And then on Avalanche, it was the layer 0 and bridge and how to create some blockchain subnets and stuff like this. So each book is supposed to develop something. Maybe the next one will be Chainlink because it's an oracle, or maybe it will be another project, but the target is to develop a new technology side inside my books. So all of them have their strengths and their weaknesses, all of them, and I try to select good projects, and I also include my community to select the project. So for example, the next book, I will shortlist some crypto and my community will decide which one I will write.
We look forward to that. Now, with the ETH merge that happened recently, what do you see are the advantages and disadvantages of this ETH merge? And do you see any significant impact to the Elrond network with the ETH merge?
Okay, so the ETH merge. If everything goes well, Ethereum will attract a lot of people, projects, and builders because Ethereum is in advance and the technology will be sufficient to onboard other projects. So basically, I think a lot of projects and developers will go to Ethereum. So it will be a good news for Ethereum and maybe a bad news for competitors like Avalanche, like Elrond, like Solana. But if there is an issue, if something is wrong, it will be a disaster for the market. If Ethereum is not working really well, the market will crash. But in the long term, I think it will be an advantage for competitors like Elrond or Avalanche. So basically, the end of the merge story will decide if it's good news and will attract a lot of projects, or if other projects will focus on maybe Elrond or Avalanche to develop their project. So this is clearly the impact on the way developers and builders will think about it. The merge is special because switching from mining to staking is a bit complicated to handle, because right now everybody will want to stake their tokens, their Ether. To do it easily, they will stake them on exchange like Coinbase, Binance, big exchanges, and we can already see a huge concentration of Ether in in just 4 or 5 exchanges. So it will be hard for Ethereum community to educate people to decentralize this stacking, because it's a risk in the long term to have a concentration, a centralization of Ether on just few actors.
Thanks for that. Can you expand a bit more on NFTs, and can you provide some examples where you see NFTs evolve to in the immediate future?
So yes, I also write a book about NFT. NFT are really incredible, and it will change our way to interact with technology. It's not really yet adopted, but 95% of me think it will be adopted in the few years because it's fantastic. It just brings scarcity from the physical world inside the digital world. So we can already see that in the real world, everybody wants to show off what they possess, what they have. They cannot really do it right now in the digital world. NFT are the missing link to do this. So it's just obvious that NFT will do a lot of things and will impact a lot our future, because everybody will want to show that they possess this video, this picture, and it's just obvious for me. So that's why I'm trying to show people how it works inside my books. But in a few years, people will interact with NFT without knowing how it works, like internet or like blockchain. In a few years, it will be totally transparent. It's really important to understand the technology to have confidence in your investment, because it's a bit risky to invest in NFT right now. It's really not easy. It's hard to sell, etc. But it's important to understand, to have confidence in your investment.
Yeah, as you said, NFTs could be just part of normal life. You know, it could be in receipts.
Yeah,
it could be
absolutely.
just in everything that we do. We wear our brands, we wear Adidas, Nikes, and stuff like that. In real life, we now could do something like that in the digital world, which is amazing to see where
Yes.
it will go in the next few years.
I just wanted to add that NFT and Elrond are, I think, it will be really cool to see what NFT becomes in Elrond ecosystem, because as I said, Elrond do some cool stuff and easy stuff. So they will take NFT and put them inside their product, and it will be just so cool to use in games or in applications. I know that a lot of projects on Elrond will do an incredible job to integrate NFT, and it will be so fluent, so transparent that we won't recognize NFT from other digital content.
In addition to that, what do you see Elrond network to be in the next 5 to 10 years? What's your view?
5 to 10 years, it's hard to say because there is a lot of competitions, really a lot of competition. I saw it with Avalanche, with Solana, with a lot of big projects, and Elrond is beside them in terms of market cap or global awareness. But if they stick to their plan and continue to deliver some cool stuff and to assemble the different pieces of the puzzle, I think in maybe 2 or 3 years, it can really boom, it can really explode. And I'm sure that Benjamin Minshew and all Elrond team is aware of this. They are really building one part at a time to assemble all of this in the few years. So they can reach maybe top 20 or top 10 of the crypto market, depending on their progress. I think some fundamental technology used by Elrond is superior than some of other competitors well ranked against them. I hope they can really compete with Ethereum and the big projects in the top 10.
One thing that impresses me a lot about the Elrond team is they've actually been hitting the milestones from the very beginning, which is different to other blockchains that I've seen. So that's very impressive in that regard. Is there anything else you would like to add that you think would benefit our viewers and listeners?
No, just as I mentioned just before, it's important to understand the way some projects are working, like Elrond, like Avalanche. And it's really important because it will put some confidence in your investment, and you will be less stressed about your investment if you know their targets, how they will do it, what they have already done, and stuff like this. I see a lot of investors, crypto investors, that just focus on the next bull run, the next blue chip, just to do a 100x. So for me, it's really important to dig inside a project, just select few projects that dig inside them. That's why my books have some success, because some people like to just focus on one crypto, but not always Bitcoin, not always Ethereum. Other projects like Avalanche, like Elrond, maybe Chainlink, maybe Polygon, maybe other crypto, just focus and spend 2 hours with a quick summary with some easy explanations and pictures to understand how it works. That's basically it. I don't have a lot of books translated in English. The one on Elrond is translated because the community is really active, as I said, and some people helped me to translate it in English, because as you can see, my English is not so fluent, so I needed some help to be sure to have a very good version in English. All my books are not translated, so maybe I will try to have a person with me to translate all of them, because there's so much people that need to have some information about Avalanche or about NFTs, but it's it's not translated yet in English. So it's still in French, but yeah, basically that's it.
So you're saying everyone should do their own research, spend the hours that you need, wait on someone else is saying, make sure you do your own research, and then you literate and actually literate if you're going to invest in that sort of specific blockchain as well.
Not sufficient just to read my book. You need also to check some information and to dig by yourself. It's not like the Bible and everything is fine and I need to invest because there is a book on Elrond. You need to check also information and to do it by yourself also.
That's great. I noticed your books, as you mentioned, it's available in different languages as well. Elrond in English and the others in Spanish and French. So how can people find out more about your books and about yourself?
Okay, so basically the most simple way to buy my books is to go to Amazon. Let's say there is just 2 books in English. It's the one about Elrond, so understand Elrond in only 2 hours. You can just tap, for example, understand Elrond and you will find it. Or I don't have them in my website because it's in French, my website. I don't have an English website. If people really need to have a book in English, they can also contact me on Twitter or on my website, and we can maybe put the link in the description of this video. If you can't find it on Amazon, just send me a message on Twitter or on my website.
That's great.
I will guide you to have it.
We'll add your website into a link on the description as well, Thibault. If anyone wants to find out, his website is Thibault Coussin, which is THIBAULTCOUSSIN.fr. And you can find Thibault on Twitter, and the link on his website is down the description as well. So I want to thank you for your time, Thibault, and I really appreciate you doing this for us, for the community, and find out more about the wonderful works that you've been doing and your books that you've created. Everyone will appreciate all that you've done to help create awareness to the community. So thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, for your invitation, and the community give me a lot. So it's really nothing to do this, just to give back to the community.
Appreciate your time. Thank you very much, Thibault.
Thank you.